Hey guys, Aaron Farmer here with mysugarfreejourney.com, and I got my hands on a copy of the Low Carb Dietitian's Guide to Health and Beauty. In fact, I interviewed the author, Franziska Spritzler, on my podcast a couple weeks ago. She was nice enough to give me a copy of the book, and so I wanted to kind of spend a few minutes talking about it, reviewing it. It's a good book. It really is. So there's a ton of information in there. You see, it's about 200 pages long. And she does a very good job of very quickly kind of going through her story, what led her to the low carb way of eating, that she had struggling with either pre-diabetes or some odd form of really late adult onset diabetes, and needed a way to control her blood sugar levels, and discovered low carb high fat being the way to do that. But once she gets through that, it's many chapters. Let's see how many chapters I had. 9 chapters. So 9 chapters, and each chapter does a very good job of covering some really important topics. In fact, she does a very good job of covering a lot of the not just the big ideas, but a lot of the minutia that someone that's new to the low carb way of eating might have questions about. So she goes over the basics of the low carb diet, what it is that you need to know, how it is that it's structured, and then she even goes through some of the drawbacks of the low carb diet, some reasons why the low carb diet might not be best for you, which is a section that's missing from a lot of these low carb books. It doesn't work for 100% of the people out there. There are people that would respond well to a different type of eating. I think they're relatively rare, but if you're out there, you might need to know that information, that the low carb diet isn't for absolutely everyone. But then she goes over protein levels, carbohydrate levels, fat levels, the difference between the different types of fat, monounsaturated and polyunsaturated, and what you need to be focusing on. Of course, she deals with what that does to cholesterol, and why cholesterol isn't the thing that you need to be worried about. And then she goes over some of the like I said, some of the things that you might not think about straight away, like what about artificial sweeteners, sugar substitutes? What do these do to your insulin levels? And is there a difference between refined sugar and, say, sugar in the raw, or agave, or honey, or some of these other things that we deal with? How caffeine affects someone that's on a low carb diet? What you need to know about calories, and so a lot of really, really good information. This is a very handy book just to give someone who's new to the diet, because it goes over, in broad strokes, it goes over everything that you need to know about the low carb diet, but then it really kind of goes into detail and answers some of the most frequently asked questions. But then, of course, she goes over a lot of recipes. So you've got, I think it's chapter 5, with tons and tons of different recipes, probably maybe 50 different recipes. And low carb options for some favorites. You've got some desserts in here that you can make low carb, sugar free. But then what sets this book apart is, and then it goes away from the diet, and you've got an entire chapter in here on how different low carb foods affect your beauty, affect the way that you look. This is why I think this was written, mostly for women in mind more than men. Of course, the author's a woman, and so you've got a whole section on how low carb foods will affect your skin. How it affects antioxidant levels, how it affects, ages, the advanced glycation end products, how it will affect your skin elasticity, how it will affect your, wrinkles, things like that. She even has a section on how you can eat to reduce the amount of saggy skin that you have. If you have lost a lot of weight, your skin starts to sag, which is one of the things that I'm kind of having to think about now. Is how to make sure that my skin tightens up. And then she's also got a chapter on supplements, how different supplements that you can take with a low carb diet, how they'll affect you, and some things you need to be looking at, like CoQ10 and magnesium. She has a section on ashwagandha, milk thistle, curcumin. I mean, so there's a lot of different information on the different supplements. And again, that's not something that you see a whole lot of in low-carb books. Of course, there's a section on exercise. And then there's what I thought to be most interesting. There is a section just of like the frequently asked questions on the low-carb diet, like having to do with sleep and what about dairy, and things like what kinds of fish are safest to eat. Should you be worrying about mercury levels? What do you do if a ketogenic diet affects your breath? What about if you're premenopausal, postmenopausal, that kind of thing? And how it would affect you in these different hormonal states. So again, a lot of really, really good information. So if you especially if you're a woman, but I mean, there's a lot of information here for men as well, but especially if you are a woman, or a woman that is thinking about the low-carb diet and maybe just wants to kind of get in their head the information that would be important to them as they start this new way of eating. This is a fantastic book just to hand to them and say, check this book out, because it answers a lot of the questions. So I think it's well written, and obviously, Francisca is a dietitian, so there's a lot of good science in there. In fact, that's the part that I like most, is every chapter has a rather lengthy section of references. So all of the science you can see in there. So all of the science in the book has a end notes, and they don't link out to. Obviously, this is a written book, but they all refer to different scientific studies and things that you can go and look at on your own. And there's multiple pages. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So there's like 15 pages just of end notes of the different scientific studies that have been performed on the low carb way of eating. So if you have questions and you want to go do some research and make sure that what she's telling you is right, she gives you the ability to do that. So good book. And again, I would recommend it mostly for women, although it's good for men too. And if you're interested in a section on how a low-carb diet won't just affect your weight and your health, but if you'd also like to know how it will affect your skin, how it will affect the way you look, how it will affect your beauty, this is the book for you. In fact, I don't think I've ever seen a chapter like that in other low-carb books, so you might be interested in that. All right, appreciate you guys for watching. There's a link if you'd like to check out my written review, but there's a link in the information section below the video. Check that out. Come on over to the blog. You can sign up for my daily email and get a 28-day meal plan. Would love to have you over there. And if you are watching this on YouTube, do me a favor and hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Thanks, guys, for watching. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.